When?
Hi there, YouTube. I am getting ready to do a Halloween garden tour. It's the last day of October in Oregon, and it's actually we've not had our first frost yet, so I still have quite a bit of activity going on, way more than I thought I would, and so I wanted to show you. I'm wearing my rue because later I'm gonna actually go plant some bulbs. And I love these little, I just love this thing because I'm one of those people who, I set things down and then I can't figure out where I set them down, and then I've got to retrace my steps until I figure out where. So this is like a giant pocket that collects everything. And so I have gloves and tools and all kinds of stuff in here, and I got my clippers in here, and I just love it. It's super, super convenient for somebody like me so this is just gonna go with us. So, I wanted to show you my beans that are growing up my sunflowers. I had to cut the head off of that one because it was spent and it was starting to knock over with the weight of the head and the beans and the bean plants. But look at this, it's so fun. I actually just harvested, so I'm not sure I'm gonna find some more in there, but definitely got beans growing. Oh wow, there's all mostly baby ones in there, but yay, beans. It's awesome. I still can hardly believe. So I had from my greenhouse over there yesterday, I had cucumber, and I had a cucumber in my fresh yard. They're a little smaller, but I swear they taste better because they're like crunchier and crisper, and I don't know if that's from the cooler weather. We've been in the 50s and 60s in the day, and at night it goes down to in the 40s and 50s. So we're not yet hitting the freezing weather or anything like that. So this last week come on around in here. Lizzie's on the camera, and I wish you could see her. She looks like she has a Halloween costume that slightly resembles a hobo and a sumo wrestler. She looked pretty cute. I trimmed up my herbs and put them there, make space for next year's growth. And I still have noodle beans and black-eyed Susan vines. I don't know, black-eyed Susans actually have a little bloom right there, but I don't know how much taller they'll get before the frost actually comes, but it's kind of fun. I also have these little guys blooming. They're a sunflower that's supposed to be multi-bloom sunflower. I harvested kohlrabi, and I'm just taking as I need. And I have never had kohlrabi before, so I had it in a soup, and I am a cumber. I also tried turnips for the first time. Not sure on that. So if anybody has really good turnip recipe, that was kind of a bitter flavor that I wasn't used to. So maybe I'm not doing the cooking right. So come on over here, I want to show you something. So obviously we grew pumpkins. I have more over there, but they're just looking so pretty. I know I'm supposed to take them in and store them. I did hear that they would turn orange after I clipped them because the vine was spent, but it's not really turning orange, so I'm not sure how that works. But I picked this yet today, just before I got here. Now, obviously, I'm late in the season and I'm growing it late, but it actually has a little buggy hole in it. But I had my other one that I grew, I had last week, and it tasted awesome. Now, whatever brand this is, whatever version it is, that's one thing that I'm gonna do better on from here on out, is actually remembering the names of the seeds, because there's like a million varieties of every type of vegetable and fruit. But the seeds are not the cute little black ones that we're used to. It was huge white seeds, so it's kind of seed heavy, but the flavor, again, I don't know if it's just the freshness of having grown it right here, or the fact that I'm getting watermelon at the end of October, but it was so juicy and so watermelon-y, almost like fake watermelon flavor. It was so strong. And the little personalized cantaloupes that I grew, I just cut one of those in half so you could see. So cute, so tiny, and they just smell so good. I'm gonna have Lizzie smell. Lizzie. Oh, does it smell, huh? Good. Yeah. So that's been fun. I also, I've told you guys before that I'm a writer, and so I do research books. And so this is a book that I actually had printed. It was originally printed in 1840, and now you can do these things where you get them printed on demand, like they literally bind it for you. So it's 1840, and I just had it printed, sent to me. But it's actually The Practical Agriculturalist. It's an instruction manual for plants and animal husbandry and the economy of the farm. And I got it because the language from the 1840s would be something I need in my research. And I didn't realize back when I got it for my writing how much I would actually enjoy it for my gardening. And they actually spend quite a bit of time talking about the types of topsoil and manures, and like when leaves compost, it's actually because of a mold that's growing. And it talks all about that stuff in here. And they were pretty smart back then, and I think it's kind of fascinating. So on a whim, I feel like I'm experimenting like crazy and trying new things like crazy. So on a whim, I actually planted seeds like 2 weeks ago. And I planted, let's see if I can remember, I planted radishes. They're right here, let's see. So this is carrots, and I have seedlings coming up in here. I'm just not 100% sure they're actually the carrots that are coming up, because everywhere the dirt is exposed is now growing weeds. So I will definitely have to mulch. That's why I got the straw bales, and I'll use leaves, and I'll use a lot of stuff. But like over there, I added my compost in, and now all kinds of seeds are growing up from the compost, which is so crazy. But these are two different kinds of radishes. One of the bigger varieties, and I didn't mark down the names. Like I said, I gotta do better at that. And I don't know if you can see this, but right here, these are garlics that are starting to come up. So I have a row of garlics, and then this is gonna be an onion, big white onions, and then I also have the purple onions. There actually, I see some that look like they could be the onion, but I'm not sure. And then there's actually garlic in here, but I actually put more mulch on top to see if they would be strong enough to push through. And then right here is supposed to be, oh, it is, yep. These are beets, one type of beet, the regular kind I'm used to. And then over here is a variety pack of beets. And then right here is spinach. I'm considering these weeds now because they're from my, the hollyhock flower seeds are all through my garden. So I'm kind of having to pull those out all the time. So from here, all the way down to where you can see this little line pressed in the dirt, I actually planted potatoes. So I didn't realize, but you can actually plant potatoes this time of year, and then they'll be coming up in the spring, and you'll actually be harvesting them about 3 or 4 weeks after you plant your next year's crop. So, succession planting. So one thing I'm kind of intrigued by, if anybody knows anything about, our winter, we usually get 1 or 2 weeks that's in the 20s or so. Sometimes we'll get down into the high teens. I can only remember a couple times since I was a kid where we actually got down into the single digits. But I'm kind of curious to know if I can actually winter over peppers. Like, I would have to cover them, I'm assuming, maybe mulch them and cover them. But I'm curious to see if anybody knows anything about that. So obviously still decompressing the things. I made the chickens, my chicken pen is actually up and running and working. The only bummer is now when I let the chickens out, they don't know how to get back in. They go all the way around the old way, and so I have to kind of babysit them as they get in and out, which hopefully they'll eventually figure that out. I have broccoli, Brussels sprouts and broccoli still going. My broccoli got an aphid all over it. My Brussels sprouts got an aphid all over it, and I'm not sure, you can actually see them dark on the tops of it. They're just still struggling, so I'm not sure if that's going to ruin them or not. I'm just a learning experience. I've never actually grown it, so I don't, somebody said you just had to hose them off. Well, I've hosed and it's been rained on and they're still on there, so I'm not sure quite what to do. And you can see this mess of green that's coming up here. This is mustard greens and maybe some beets or radishes mixed in. It's stuff that I planted in there already that seeded itself. So I'm just kind of letting this go, and I'm not going to mulch that in. Definitely mulching all along. Got my grass clippings going. I need to pull the boards off the back fence. That I took in the ones that were big enough for a birdhouse. Next year I think I'm going to plant those in more full sun on a different fence line, because it took them a little bit to get enough sun to get going, because it's shaded by those big trees up there. Still, I have a whole thing of nasturtiums that's growing, different sections of my potatoes that were over there. About half of them did actually come up without having been rooted ahead of time. So I literally just planted the whole potato in the ground to see what happened. And I haven't pulled all of my tomatoes out yet. Some of them should come out, but I haven't pulled them out because as sad as they're starting to look, I'm still a little less intense of a red, and they all have a little bit of rainwater on this, but I take these in and I stick them in my windowsill, and within a day I have these beautiful tomatoes. And so I figured as long as I have that, then I will keep growing them. And I figured as soon as the first frost happens, they'll all say goodbye at the same time and I'll have a mess to clean up. But it'll be fun in the meantime. So that's my garden. I'm totally having fun. I feel like the having to go with nothing, almost a barren winter where your garden is all just tilled under and dark. Those days are gone for me. I have mulch piles to spread around and some projects that I want to do in the off season to get ready for things. Oh look, you got a bee. Don't let him sting you. Yeah. She got a little wiggle for that.
Landed on my hand.
So yeah, so we're just kind of, it's kind of like, I can hardly believe it. Like, it's November. The distance between now and spring is very short. I mean, relatively short compared to when I would normally put my garden away for the year. So in Oregon, you typically have to rototill before the rains come. And as you can see, it's very much Oregon rain season. We've had some gully washers. If you're 1840s rider, you would say gully washers. It's downpours, torrential downpours the last couple days, and but everything is so green. I mean, look across there, you can see leaves are starting to come down like crazy. You know, just slowly cleaning things up and putting things away for the year, but at the same time enjoying that there's still an abundance. I made a salad the other day that had chard and kale, the soft tender greens, not even big thick ones, lettuce from me, tomatoes, bell pepper, cucumber, and basil. And I'm like, this is the last week in October and I'm making this and eating this, and it was super yummy. So I cut back my broccoli and used a lot of it in a stir fry, and I've never really done that before. So it's sort of like a year of firsts for me. So February was when I learned, January, February was when I learned about the Back to Eden system, and I am a huge advocate. There's a few things that I'm learning. I watched a lady who said that when your alley, the row, when this bark chip breaks down enough that it actually is good dirt, then you scoop it up and you roll it into your flower bed and then put out the fresh wood chips down the alley pathway again. And I just think that's the same kind of thing. It's just so smart. It's labor intensive for all of one project, and then you get to use the byproduct inside your flower bed, so you're not having to dig through wood chips. So I guess that's all I got for Happy Halloween. Enjoy your day wherever it is that you are, and we'll see you on YouTube. I still have some spare videos that I need to throw up that are going to seem totally out of place, but I so want to do it just to get them up there. So I love the living documentary. It's pretty great. So happy trails, and we'll see you later.